What's going on, Ralph?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming.
Yeah, I'm not feeling well.
So we have a full program of guest speakers, so we're going to go quickly through some committee stuff, and then we'll hear from our guests. And I want to thank our guests very much for coming. These are the folks that are vying to be our nominee to follow Congressman Steve Israel. Congressman Israel has represented the party greatly, and we're fortunate to have these four candidates to choose from to follow Congressman Israel and continue all the good work that he's done over these past years. So thank you very much. Okay, so I wanted to make one committee announcement. We have a new dignitary from the Smithtown Democratic Committee, Dawn Lott, our own Dawn Lott. He's the Executive Director for the Suffolk County Human Rights Commission. So congratulations, Dawn. And one other thing, Peter Hansen today was at a rally with Steve Malone and the governor. He's just going to take a minute to tell us about it.
Yeah, I wasn't the only one there. Anna was there, and Anna was there. Real fast, the governor was there, Steve Malone. They both made great speeches, and the emphasis is on raising the minimum wage across the state up to at least $15. I'm reading articles maybe just for New York City and a little bit less outside of New York City, but a great motivational speech. And also, I was there because I'm very active with the AARP, and this is one of our issues with AARP. AARP is nonpartisan, and of course, I'm here being very, very partisan, so I have to separate the two. But you know, we're trying to get the right for paid family leave, so that for 12 weeks, so that when people have children and they're working, they can take 12 weeks off and get paid. That includes fathers and mothers, and for those people who are working and taking care of elderly parents, etc. So it was a great turnout. Again, the governor made an absolutely great speech, and it was great being there. So these are two big New York State issues that the governor is going to be pushing, and hopefully we'll get everybody's support here in the room. Thank you very, very much.
And of course, on issues like that, you know, we need partners in Washington. So again, it's critical that we keep the 3rd Congressional District in Democratic hands. And it's also critical that we flip the 1st Congressional District back to Democratic hands. And you know, at our last meeting, we had candidates for that race, David Malone and Anna Dawn Holst. And Anna Dawn Holst has joined us here tonight also.
I may not be staying through the entire presentation, if that's okay, because I'm going to go and dial for some dollars. We understand.
Okay, so that we can get on to the program with the guest speakers, I will take a motion from, to dispense with regular order of business. I'll take a motion from Floyd Saracen, seconded by Howard Niskell. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And we are dispensing with regular business. Our first speaker tonight is from Suffolk County, the town next door, Huntington. And everybody, Steve Stern.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Finishing off late last night in Queens, Nassau County today. It's great to end off today in my home county of Suffolk. It's good to see everybody here. And it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for all of us. We have big shoes to fill. Our great Congressman Steve Israel, who's really served as an example for all of us is not seeking re-election. And so it creates a tremendous opportunity, an opportunity to not only follow a legacy, but also for all of us to come together to create a new vision for the 3rd Congressional District. Many of you I've had the opportunity to know and to work with in the past, and many of you I have not. So just very briefly, I'm Steve Stern, and I grew up in Suffolk County. I live in Suffolk County. I work in Suffolk County. My children attend public schools in Suffolk County. My father was an engineer by trade. He always worked 2 jobs, always worked a supermarket job in the evening. My mother was a small business owner on Main Street and worked real hard. Everything was about her children. Everything was about giving back to her community. And like you, I often wonder if my young children are going to have the same opportunities that myself and my wife of over 20 years had. I wonder if things can be created here on Long Island the way they used to be in the past. My father, as an engineer, was on the design team. He created the old big projector at the Vanderbilt Planetarium that all of us, at one time or another, ourselves, our children, our grandchildren, had the opportunity to enjoy. Part of the fabric of life here on Long Island. And the kinds of things that we all have roots in, the kinds of things that we're all very proud of. I'm very proud of my record as Suffolk County legislator. I was just recently sworn in to serve my 6th and what will be my final term due to term limits. And so I'm running to continue to build on a record that I'm very proud of. A record of holding the line on taxes for the past 10 years, particularly during challenging times. A proud record of protecting our environment, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, which is literally right beneath our feet. I've had the great privilege of serving as the chairman of the Veterans and Seniors Committee in the Suffolk County Legislature. My entire career has been dedicated to representing the rights of the most vulnerable in our community, particularly our older neighbors, people with disabilities and their families, and of course our veterans and the brave men and women that serve and continue to serve our great nation. I'm running to build on a record that I think we can all be very proud of, because we've all played a role in not only enacting legislative initiatives here that have made a real impact for our local community, but has served as models for the rest of the country. Many of my legislative initiatives literally have been the first of their kind, either in New York State and even first in the nation. People will ask me when I get to Washington, what kind of a congressman are you going to be? What is the very first thing that you're going to do? I had the opportunity to work with Congressman Israel and create a legislative initiative. Many of you know that Suffolk County is home to the largest number of veterans in all of New York State, which is something that we're all very proud of. Unfortunately, too many of our veterans return home after their 3rd, their 4th, their 5th, their 6th tours with great challenge becoming part of their communities, part of their place of employment, their families again. And too many of them this evening will go to sleep not knowing whether or not they're going to have a roof over their heads. And so I created a legislative initiative we call the Housing Our Homeless Heroes Act, which is Suffolk County's very aggressive legislative initiative to end veterans' homelessness in Suffolk County. Something that we can all be very proud of. But then, right after it was enacted, I had the opportunity to work with Steve Israel on the federal version of the Housing Our Homeless Heroes Act that he recently introduced in Washington, D.C. If it's still pending, by the time I get to Congress, that is going to be item number 1, to make sure that we pass and implement what is essentially the legislation that we created here in Suffolk County that I'm so very proud of. But I'm running for Congress to make sure that we have a Congress that works for us. And all too often, given the gridlock and the bickering and too many years of seeing nothing getting done, not only frustrating, but these days it's dangerous and should be unacceptable to us all. The record of proven leadership here in the Suffolk County Legislature, a proven record of getting things done that actually means something, And we know that it means something not only because of the people that I've had the opportunity to assist here through these many years that I've had the opportunity to serve, but because much of what I've done has been emulated both regionally, throughout the state, and across the country. And so I'm excited about this race. I'm excited to continue Steve Israel's legacy, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to work with all of you as we create a new vision for the 3rd Congressional District. I've already received the endorsements of many of my colleagues at the town level and at the county level. Suffolk County Chairman Rich Schaefer has personally supported my candidacy, and Steve Israel likes to say, if you like Steve Israel, you'll love Steve Stern. And so thank you for being with us, Zia. Thank you for inviting me. And I look forward to working with all of you for a primary victory at the end of June and victory for all of us in November. Thank you.
Everybody, Anna Kaplan.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for having me here. It's really a pleasure to come so that each and every one of you can actually get to meet me and understand a little bit about me and who I am and why I'm doing this. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my history. I came to this country when I was 13 years old. I came from Iran after the revolution, the Iran Revolution. So I saw Shah leaving and Khomeini coming in, and a few months after, I left through a group effort to get kids out of Iran because a lot of the Jews outside Iran were very concerned about the future of the Jews in Iran. My parents were not in a place that they could have left, so they actually allowed me and my other brother leave with them and come to the United States. This was actually through an effort of a Jewish organization. They brought in about 50, 60 kids. I already had 2 older brothers in Chicago, going to school, to college. And it was right a few months after we left that my parents really couldn't deal with having almost everybody out. So they left Iran, tried to get here so that we could all reunite. But it really hit right the time that the hostages were taken. And it was right then that President Carter banned and did not issue any visas to any Iranian wanting to come to this country, even to those who really were fleeing for their lives, just like my parents. So I actually lived with a foster family for about a year until the hostages were released, and then the United States started issuing visas to Iranian. And it was at that time when my family and I all got reunited and we settled in Queens, Jamaica, Queens, where we lived for, I want to say, about 15 years or so. And I went to public high school in Chicago. And then when we moved here, I went to Stern College for Women, part of Yeshiva University in New York City. I followed that with Benjamin Cardozo School of Law. And I was blessed to find a nice, wonderful American husband. Where we married and we settled in Great Neck. We settled really in North Shore, Long Island, because we wanted to give the best to our kids. We've lived there for the last 20 years. I have 2 wonderful girls, one who just entered her first year of college, and another one who will be attending college in about a year and a half from now. We moved to Great Neck because of the public schools, the public libraries, and the public parks. And obviously, as parents, we always try to do best and better for our kids. I'm truly blessed and humbled to do what I do. I started really getting involved because I joined the PTA because I wanted to be active in my kids' school. And from there, I was asked to run for Great Neck Public Library, which was an elected position also. I ran for that seat, I won, and right after that, I was elected to town board in 2011. I represent the 4th district of the town, and this is the 5th largest town of about 240,000 people, and my district has about 40,000 people. Great Neck, Manhasset, North Hills, Village of Roslyn, and Roslyn Estates. And I've had 2 consecutive wins. This last one, which was November of 2015, I won by 67% of the vote. And I have to tell you, a lot of my district is gearing really Republican. Every day, more and more. But I take that 67% as a very good sign, because I really have tried very hard to reach out to all of my constituents and residents. And to win by those margins in such a difficult area, I think really is a testament of how hard I work for the people. This is a part-time position. I'm in the office almost every day. And I try to make a lot of my own initiations, try to help the residents and the constituents. I have to be honest, if you had asked me 20 years ago, this was the path your life was going to go through, I would have told you that there is no way. I never imagined marrying a nice, wonderful American boy and then running for office. But I am truly blessed to be able to do this. I believe I am living the American dream. How many people can say they've left their country of birth, they've gone to another country, they've worked hard, got a good education, married well, have kids, they're giving their kids the greatest public education that they can give them, and on top of it, to be elected to office and try to serve. This country opened its arms to me and my family, and a lot of Persian Jews, a lot of Iranian Jews, and a lot of Iranian Muslims who didn't believe in the regime, and gave them a home. And that's what this country is all about. That's what's so great about America. And I'm living that life every day. And if I can give back in any small way, it's truly an honor for me to do so. I believe this country is based on the immigrants who come here, despite all the rhetoric that we hear. I'm running for Congress because I want to inspire immigrants who have come here and who want to work hard and who want to achieve the American dream and want to give back to this great country. I want to inspire young girls and women to believe in themselves and to realize they have potential to do whatever they want in this country. I come from a country where we were not allowed or had a voice. We did not vote, and I take that really, really seriously. It's not just a right that we have to go ahead and vote. It's not just a privilege. It's our duty. And this is what this country is about, the democracy that it stands, that each of us could raise our voice, pick a representative, and have that representative be our voice in government. And I want to be that voice for all the people within the District 3 of the congressional seat, from Whitestone Bridge to all the way to Northport of Huntington. I believe the minimum wage needs to be raised to $15 an hour. We can't expect people to go work hard and spend their days and not to be able to support their family and live in poverty. We can't set them up for failure. We need to, all of us, work together and make sure that we do that. And I'm going to make a legislation offering in our town board to raise the minimum wage to $15. I believe it's time for us to have paid family leave. Everything we do is really for the benefit of our families, for benefit of our future and our kids. I think it's really important for a mother or a father to bond with their baby when they bring them home, or to be there and take care of their loved ones, their parents, their uncles, or somebody who needs their help. I'm a big supporter of the Health Care Act. I know it's not perfect, but I'm gonna go, you have my word that I'm gonna work hard to make it work, because every American deserves to have insurance and not to worry about getting sick. I want to be a voice for every resident in this district. And I want to be your voices. I don't claim to know everything, but I can tell you I'm one of the hardest working people you'll ever meet. And I'm always there to hear whoever calls me. I tell this to everybody. I'm only a phone call away, and you can call up and set up an appointment. I would love to hear from you. I think we all should work together to make the America that we know the best that it can. And I'm willing to work with everybody across the party, but I will not work with people who threaten to take a woman's right to decide her own medical decisions. I think that needs to be left alone to their doctor and themselves, not to the government. And anyone who's fighting to take away Medicare benefits, it's really un-American. Everyone who has worked hard all their lives and have paid into Medicare, they deserve to rely on it when they retire. Those are my beliefs. I believe those are your beliefs, and I want to be that advocate for you in Congress. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us here to present to all of you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of myself. I'm Jon Kaiman. I've been engaged in politics and government for a long time. I believe that we can make a difference. We make a difference by showing up, by caring, by understanding the issues, by involving ourselves. Everyone here has done that. You're here. By way of background, I've spent 10 years as the North Hempstead Town Supervisor. Anna is a councilwoman in that town. I was a supervisor from 2004 to 2013. I left in 2013 to go work for the governor, helping the Superstorm Sandy relief. I was a special advisor to the governor for storm recovery. And I was also appointed as chairman of NYPA, the Nassau Interim Finance Authority, which is helping with Nassau County's fiscal recovery. Before that, I was a judge, district court judge in Nassau County. And I'd also served as a commissioner in public safety in the town. And so I have significant experience in government. I'm a lawyer. I had my own law practice. I was in the private sector. But I've spent a good portion of my time trying to understand how government works and how it's supposed to work. We live our lives, and so often we're frustrated. And we're angry, and we get enraged by what we see in government because we don't like what's going on, we don't understand what's going on. Except when I say we, who is that? Now, we in the room are political activists. We believe, we show up. I believe we respect the fact that people put themselves forward to try to get themselves elected, try to do some good in the world, and mostly do. People who are elected to office are pretty good people. Except sometimes government gets stagnant and doesn't work, and there's not real competition. And when there's no competition, good ideas can't get themselves, can't evolve. And so I've always looked at government as an opportunity. When I was elected North Hempstead Supervisor, I would say, how would we do it today if we rebuilt something, if we recrafted a policy? I worked with Thomas Suozzi as county executive. In fact, we did a lot of projects together. We recrafted, reinvented government. If something's not working, don't just complain about it, do something about it. I used to drive down the street and I would see a branch dangling in front of the road, and I said, somebody should do something about it. And then I realized I'm that somebody. We're all that somebody. But I have the ability to go to town hall, tell the highway guy, drive down there, pull down the branch, do it safely. And by the way, don't stand in the middle of the street when you do it, because then you get hit by a car and we got to pay you for your workers' comp. I actually have to tell people not to stand in the middle of the street, because when you don't tell them to do that, a lot of times they don't kind of get. So you have to create rules and processes. So part of government, part of understanding government, is giving people an opportunity who work in government to do it correctly, understanding what the best practices are, understanding what your goals are, what are we trying to achieve. In the town of North Hempstead, we have a large senior population. And one of the things that I've come to know is that everybody in my town is either a senior or hopes one day to become one. Right? So we all have parents, we have people that we know, friends, neighbors, relatives who are aging. We want people to be able to age in place, live in dignity, use the resources that exist out there. Every government has senior programs, federal, state, town, county, village. But if people can't access those programs, they don't get the benefit of them. If people can't live in their own home, the community that they help build, they don't benefit from the community that they helped create. And so we created a program called Project Independence, giving our seniors the ability to age in place. And we did that by finding all the resources that existed for our senior populations and making them available. It's really not that sophisticated a concept, right? We have all these programs, all these plans. Let's give every senior the opportunity to use these plans. They're paying their taxes, paying a lot of taxes. So if there's a program that exists, shouldn't you have the right to use it? Shouldn't you know how to use it? Shouldn't you know how to access it? And so we created a centralized system where everyone could call 311. We created the first suburban 311 in the country. So you call 311, you say, I'm a senior, I have a problem, I have a pothole in front of my house, I have a banister that's not working, I fell down the stoop and I need some help. Or I can't get to my medical visit, I don't have the ability to go shopping, I'm cold, my heat's not working, whatever the issue is. And 311 calls a social worker that we have on site, and that person calls the person back and we get them the help they need. We set a system up with the taxi companies to take them food shopping. We set another system up to get a medical visit. We set another system up to have the banister repaired by another group of people with certain type of disabilities who could help repair homes. And so we use the resources that are out there to make government work better. And I spend a lot of time talking about a very local issue. How do we help our seniors? And I can talk about how do we help our children in our schools? How do we help protect our environment? How do we do things that reduce the gases that are endangering our world, the greenhouse gases. And you do it by making decisions, coming up with ideas, working together, creating partnerships, understanding how government works, respecting the fact that if you're in government, you have an obligation to know how it works, to find the partners. And that partner could be a council person, the county executive, a legislator. The partner could be an assemblyman, a state senator from either party. It could be a senator or it could be a president. And I used all those resources and figured out how to make government work. And so I tried to understand how we can do things better. How would we recraft government? And I was always interested in politics and government. I thought one day I might run for Congress. But I figured before I run for Congress, I should know how to get my local seniors their medication. And I should know how to get the garbage picked up in a way that doesn't have the recyclables dumped in some dump behind the building when it should go into a transfer station. I want to make sure that I understand how the rules work and how we all work together. We can do wonderful, creative things. And so I created these programs. We did it in a fiscally responsible way. We did it in a way that allowed us to still provide services, to still hold ourselves accountable through performance measurement standards. We did it in a way that helped our seniors, but saved money by doing it. And I can go on for a long time how we did that. But what I really want to say is that the goal for me is to take what I've learned locally, to understand how government works, and take it to Washington. Because in Washington, we can then go there and say, it's not just about fighting with everybody. It's not just about calling each other's names and trying to see who can say something more vulgar than the next guy. It's about understanding what our communities need, what people expect of us, to make sure that we are providing the services that people need to get through their daily lives. And do it in a way that makes sense, that's cost effective, that protects our environment, but also protects our workforce, that respects the right to labor, that we do, and I too was at that rally today, where we agree that we need to have a $15 minimum wage, and we want paid family leave. But we want to do it in a way that there's an even playing field, so everyone can compete. So ultimately the goal is to make government work, and I think that that's a critical thing that I bring to the table, and I hope to be able to take that idea to Washington and be a passionate advocate. I was a town leader. I was a political leader in the town government, yet I could work with both sides. I can stand my ground because I understand what the issues are, and I can talk substantively about an issue that's important to me, but I know that I have to have a conversation and a dialogue with someone who disagrees with me. I have to come back to my community and come to the residents and find out what they really believe in, even if they disagree with me, and understand that I have an obligation both to lead, sharing why I think I should do what I should do, but also hear and listen and bring those ideas to Washington to make sure that everything is being addressed in the most appropriate way and still standing my ground as a government leader. The general issues that are important to me, I think are important to most Democrats. I'm a progressive Democrat. I believe in our core values as a Democratic Party. I've been fighting the fight for a long time, both politically and governmentally. I have an opportunity to run for Congress, and so I'm running with several people who I call my friends, and new friends as well. So there's all sorts of folks that you meet in this business, and you realize that there really are good people sitting at the tables in front of me as well. But I think I can make a difference. I think I can do an exceptional job. I think I can stand out. I think that people will be proud of the work I do, and I think I will make a difference. And so I ask you to consider supporting me, standing with me, carrying my petitions if you're so inclined, and joining my campaign. I think that there's a great road ahead of us. This is an extraordinary community. It goes up and down the North Shore, where we have to look at our local infrastructure and make it work, and we need the support from Washington to get the resources to do it. Because we can't do it alone. And people here aren't always willing to do it. Government leaders don't always have the will to make those decisions, to fix our sewage issues, our garbage issues, our water issues, our clean air issues, our transportation issue, our roads. It can go on and on. I've run local government. But I think this is a time to look for who our leaders should be in the future, who can be an advocate for us locally and still represent us nationally. And I hope you choose me. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Hey, Thomas Suozzi.
Okay, who's ready for another speech? You ready to go? Let's shake it up a little bit, get a little bit loosened up. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me here this evening and inviting all of us here this evening. We appreciate it very much. This is an interesting time to be in politics. People are paying attention in this presidential race more than usual. I've been out of office for 6 years now, and when you're out of office, people talk to you differently than when you're in office. And everybody hates politics these days. They hate politics, they hate government, they're angry, they're frustrated, they don't see things getting done, and they are mad at everybody in politics, the general public. So it's really amazing and encouraging, quite frankly, when we come to a meeting like this tonight, and you have exceptional people like this who are willing to run for office, and Anna Throne-Holtz, who's going to run for office. Anna, a very inspiring personal story that she has, and Steve and the work he did with veterans, and John, I know so many things he worked on, great things with seniors in his community. And Anna, as supervisor of the town, did such a fantastic job. And you people showing up for political meetings, you're not normal, you know, coming to a meeting like this. This is not what most people that are out there raging and going to Donald Trump rallies are like, that they actually participate and come into meetings like this. The fact that you keep this organization alive when Smithtown is such a Republican town is not an easy thing to do. So everybody's to be applauded for what they're doing by just being here, for running for office, for trying to get involved and change things. My background is I'm a lawyer, I'm a certified public accountant, I was the mayor of the city of Glen Cove, I was the county executive of Nassau County. And I still believe in politics. I still believe that politics, you can do really good things and make the world a better place to live in. In fact, you have an obligation to try and fix the problems that we face today. And people, like I said, are looking for something different. There's a reason that Trump is resonating. I mean, you go out to breakfast or lunch or dinner, you talk to people at family parties, or people talk about this guy all the time. Because people are looking for something different. They're looking for reform, for things to change. The problem is, a guy like Donald Trump will not deliver for the people of the United States of America because he's irresponsible and because he's mean-spirited. But we still need reform in America. We still need change. We need to break things up, shake it up. And I believe that I have a record as a responsible reformer who's got a record of getting things done on behalf of people. That's what I'm about, is standing up to powerful interests, standing up to the status quo to try and change things. Whether it was 10 years ago when I started a thing called FixAlbany.com, where I said we have to defeat Democrats in the Assembly and Republicans in the State Senate because they're both to blame for what at the time was the issue was the Medicaid cap. Local counties, the city, it's very technical, nobody ever likes to hear this long story, but Medicaid in New York State is paid for by the counties and by the city of New York. That doesn't happen anywhere else in the United States of America. It's either paid by the federal and state government together. Only in New York State do the counties and the city of New York have to pay for it. Well, I fought for the Medicaid cap. I created FixAlbany.com. I got Ed Koch to team up with me at the time to do it because he'd been talking about it when he was mayor of New York City 20 years before that. And we defeated a Democratic assemblyman. And we helped defeat a Republican state senator. And I became the president of the New York State County Executives Association and worked with Democrats and Republicans throughout the state, and we got the Medicaid cap passed. And it saved billions of dollars throughout New York State for local counties, and billions of dollars for the city of New York, and it ended up saving billions of dollars for the state of New York. But I got beaten up so badly during that process. I was disinvited to the Democratic National Convention, even though I was the Democratic County Executive of Nassau County. I raised money for the candidate. I ended up going anyway, but Shelley Silver disinvited me from the Democratic National Convention. I've got a proven record of standing up to powerful interests to get things done. When I ran against Elliot Spitzer on the property tax cap issue, he was against the property tax cap. I'm for the property tax cap, was for it then. He won the race pretty badly. That race did not turn out too well for me. Didn't turn out too well for him either. But then he appointed me as the chairman of the New York State Commission on Property Tax Relief a year later. And I traveled throughout the state working with Democrats and Republicans and holding hearings and getting things done. And we now have a property tax cap in New York State thanks to the governor and the state assembly and state senate who got it done. But I carried that conversation throughout the state of New York and got it into people's minds. And it was very controversial because members of my own party were against me for it. I had to fight back and say, listen, we want to fund the schools. We want to do the right things. We want to help our kids. But it can't be with property taxes anymore. We can't take it anymore. Because the people that we represent are Democrats. People of lower income or middle income or senior citizens on a fixed income can't take property tax increases anymore. And we have to have a blunt instrument to stop it from happening. I got beaten up for that, but it was the right thing to do. So in this race, in this country, I've thought about this. There's three basic principles. There's so many issues, democratic issues that we're talking about here. We agree on everything. There may be a little thing here and there we don't agree. We agree on a lot of the same stuff. We're Democrats. There's three principles that underlie the things that I believe in and why I'm in government. Number one is love thy neighbor. We've got to look out for people. We've got to smooth out the rough edges of life. We've got to try and help people that are the most vulnerable. We've got to do everything we can to try and help people. That's why I'm in politics. Number two